Hello everyone and welcome to the Smashy Business Show. Today is Wednesday, 16 July 2025 and I'm Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Warid Ahmed, and we've got a packed show for you today. Firstly, we're going to be discussing how Dubai's independent food company, ran by Amal Al-Marri and Deem Al-Bassam, is celebrated His Highness Sheikh Mohammed's birthday in London yesterday. Saudi Arabia is currently reassessing the Line project to keep Vision 2030 on track. And PIF, Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, is eyeing a major investment in Elon Musk's XAI at $200 billion valuation. House of Pops is eyeing Europe after its GCC growth. And Israel's stock market is in the green, but war spending is bleeding the economy red. There is a bunch of topics to go through today.
It's a busy day. It was a busy day and it is going to be a busy day. So the very first story that we have is yesterday we had His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, the ruler of Dubai, the Prime Minister of UAE, his birthday. And brands came out really good. Independent Food Company marked the special occasion in London yesterday, celebrating the birthday of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the ruler of Dubai, obviously the beloved ruler of Dubai. And the tribute was held across two of its London's venues, Parker's at Jumeirah Lowndes Hotel and Somewhere Cafe inside Harrods.
So the company is behind some of the most popular homegrown brands that you all love, including Salt, most notably Parker's, Public, Switch, Somewhere, and Grind, and also holds the exclusive Saudi franchise for Joe and the Juice. So their growing presence in London is reflecting its expanding global footprint of Gulf-based hospitality groups.
And the celebration also coincided with the annual summer holiday season when large numbers of GCC nationals flocked to London. In fact, when Parker's first opened in London, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid was there, very first get, a visit that cemented the restaurant's identity among regional travelers.
So Parker's and Somewhere aren't alone. The rise of Middle Eastern food brands in London continues to accelerate. So you have names like Caillou, which was founded in Dubai by the Lebanese chef Karim Bourgui, and Namazon Ani by Dubai-based chef Izu Ani, which is also a part of this trend.
And among the Gulf-grown names is BLK Cab, that's Black Cab London, launched in the UAE by entrepreneurs Karim Samir and Kaniz Mustafa. From Jumeirah to Knightsbridge, Gulf brands are making their mark abroad, blending hospitality, heritage, and hometown pride.
I think when I take a look at this story, Majid, it's, I was even telling him this, and this is like no offense whatsoever. The reason why this is so big to me, it's because of the fact that, we don't even see British royalty's birthdays being celebrated. We only get to know about their deaths, like Allah yarhamhum, but we only ever hear about the death of British royalty. But
it's big news.
But you have someone like His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, the ruler of Dubai. Not only was his birthday celebrated in Dubai, Saddle was giving out free drinks, but it was celebrated in London. And I think when you take a look at a brand like the Independent Food Company, this shows how great their marketing is. They're well aware of how during the summer, GCC citizens love to flock to Europe. Among their favorite destinations are Germany, Switzerland, and particularly London. And so the fact that they did this is a great marketing move, because right now, I have this best friend, Majid. During the summer, I'm not even joking with you, she stays in London for 2 months. Nice. I don't see her. 2 months, and then she comes back. So their visits there, she's not 1 week. Yeah, she's an Emirati. It's not 1 week, it's not 2 weeks, it's their entire summer. Nice. They just stay there, they stay in Europe. So I think this is signifying a growing trend of how for GCC residents, they have more than one home. And honestly, particularly, they are taking over Europe. I mean, remember?
If I give you a big look, you're talking about this, but a historical lesson that you can see is when Europe was in the golden age, you would see them everywhere, right? In the Middle East, they spend their winters, when there were winters there, they'll come here for summers, for the sun. It was like they owned the whole world. Now it's with Middle East, and not only Emiratis or Saudi Arabian people. It's with the businesses as well. Yesterday we talked about the German sustainability story that Mubadala is part of. You see all these big companies from the UAE, from Saudi, from Qatar, they're investing outside. Now, literally, they're everywhere. It shows you how the world has completely shifted.
Exactly, but it's not colonialism, though.
It's not colonialism.
Fair and square business.
The
They're
good
just
thing
buying
is
it.
they actually go and buy those businesses. Those people came and took everything like it was their own. But this time, they're using the capital and actually investing in those businesses and getting returns out of them. So it's such a nice feeling to know that the region you're living in, I am living in, this region is now the center of the world. It's such a nice feeling. Business-wise, capital-wise, tourism-wise, it's become somehow the center of the world. So yeah, this story, to be honest, leads to this idea that now we are at the center. So yeah, better luck Europe.
But I think even more so, Majid, it's this idea of having like a vacation home that you can just like fly to, like an escape from where you already live in. And with GCC citizens, we can clearly see how they did that. They've gone to London, and the fact that brands like Somewhere and Parker's that are under the Independent Food Company, that they recognize that trend. They know who their people are, and they're curating their marketing to fit this is absolutely perfect, because they could be doing things that are attracting UK citizens, but that's not what they're doing. They're very well aware that there are Gulf people in London who live there, go to university there, who will frequent their shops. And that is simply as it is. Yeah,
and Saudi Arabia, the next story is about our neighbors. Saudi Arabia is conducting a major review of the line. So NEOM, we've talked about, we kind of like stopped talking about it because nothing was happening after Ayman Al-Mudaffir became the new CEO. But now there is something happening. The line, that's the 170 kilometer long smart city, which has been billed as the crown jewel of the NEOM project. Everyone would have seen the pictures. Looks crazy. Whenever it is complete, it will be one of the marvels of the world. But according to a report by Bloomberg, the review is being led by review of the line is being led by a unit of the Public Investment Fund, with top consulting firms brought in to evaluate the project's feasibility, suggest strategic adjustments, and identify commercial opportunities. This is the most important point, and we'll explain it later.
So basically, NEOM has confirmed that the line remains a central priority. The organization emphasized that such strategic reviews are routine in projects of this scale, rightfully so, and it's basically used to ensure progress, enhance efficiency, and better align outcomes with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 goals.
And the reassessment comes amid broader economic shifts, including lower oil revenues and tighter public spending, as the kingdom works to diversify its economy. Reviews like this signal a more pragmatic and responsible approach to managing giga projects while staying true to long-term ambitions.
And analysts say the review is a healthy sign. It could help build investor confidence, especially as Saudi Arabia positions itself as a global destination for business, tourism, and innovation. So the line's scale and cost have drawn attention. So fine-tuning is both expected and necessary.
And while some adjustments may follow, officials stress their future full commitment to the line's success, with new leadership under CEO Ayman Al-Mudaffir and global milestones like the 2034 FIFA World Cup on the horizon. Just to tell you, there's going to be a stadium in the line also for that World Cup. That's in the plan. So obviously the line will be made. Refining the kingdom's mega projects ensures they remain visionary yet grounded in execution.
I think with this story specifically, Majid, it's, with the West, whenever someone from this region is succeeding, there will constantly be articles, reports that are written to either overshadow it or completely negate the fact that it will be successful. And I remember I spoke to these engineers who are part of the NEOM project, and they said that even when they signed their contracts, they expected this to happen, for things to be reassessed, and that is completely normal for a project of this scale, and that it will succeed.
I think the most chatter that you see from people is who've never been to an actual construction site. So I think it's those people who are like, oh, what is happening? Why aren't they doing anything? You actually go to a construction site. I remember, just to give you a small story to just make you understand the magnanimity of it. We did a story about Trump's friend who works in Riyadh, has a construction company there, is American, and
Trump has a lot of friends.
Yeah, he did an interview with Semaphore, and Semaphore asked him what was Trump's reaction when he saw all the construction going on. And he said Trump was surprised. Imagine a guy who's been in real estate all his life, Trump, and he gets surprised by the construction. He's like, usually in America, whenever you see a building, even the best towers being made, there's hardly 7 to 8 cranes working simultaneously. They took him to Diriyah, and he's like, when they took him to Diriyah and he saw like 80 odd cranes working simultaneously, he was like, what are you building? So imagine the magnanimity of the projects that Saudi is trying to build. If you don't go and actually see it, that how big it is and how complicated it is and how much work goes into just digging the ground to build foundations, you can't understand it.
Yeah.
And they are not. They're sitting on their side of the world, and they're just like, saw a picture,
Yeah.
I'll write a whole
And signing
news
away
report.
taxpayer money.
Yeah. So the idea is that they are building it. There's been like multiple now things written about it. CEO, I remember another important point out of all the things that has been said. CEO Yasser Al-Rumayyan said that we started the NEOM project and thought that it would be a short-term investment of 5 to 10 years. For businessmen, 5 to 10 years is not a long-term investment. It's a short-term investment. Like we invest in a project, we'll cash out or we'll grow the project. But he's like, now we've realized that what we're trying to build is not short-term. It's generational investment. So you as a businessman will invest in it. You'll work for 20, 30, 40 years and your generations will take advantage of it and it will build generational wealth and generational acknowledgement for you. So that's the idea behind NEOM. Understanding it is a big problem for West because they don't understand how big they're trying. Burj Khalifa, same example.
Yeah.
I was like a month ago, I was doing a story, I don't remember which one, but I went back to articles of the time when Burj Khalifa in between the construction has paused. So there were some concerns, obviously, with all these projects. There are always concerns because you want to build them so big and so giant that there will always be a problem that arises, and you solve the problem. That's the only thing that you do. And you see the Western media headlines at that time. Oh, the biggest project is now the biggest flop, and this and that. I was like, why would you do that? If they're trying to build it, you go and motivate. It's like you trying to do something. For example, you're studying AI. Just
Imagine,
giving you an
don't you
example.
think this trend is like so? It's honestly at this point, like it's expected. Like, and you know who we're seeing it with, and it's like such a prime example right now. We're seeing it with Zohran Mamdani.
Yeah.
So he won the Democratic election for mayor, and ever since this man has won, the stuff that I'm seeing on the internet, honestly, as a consumer myself of the media magic, I'm starting to question him. I'm like, where is all of this coming from?
Yeah.
I saw this article by the New York Post where they specifically said that, oh, we found a video of Zohran Mamdani saying that to the police, to the NYPD police, don't pick up domestic violence calls because apparently domestic violence is allowed in Islam or something.
No.
I had read the article and I was completely shocked. I mean, it just literally went right in my face, and it's like, I think this is normal. Western media, they always do this. They will continue to do this.
Twisting the facts.
Anything that has Islam in it, anything that has an Arabic country in it, they will completely try to pinpoint the most negative idea, and they will twist the narrative until it's actually built, and then a new angle will come out, and then everyone will move on.
What's the name of sorry, I completely forgot his name, the comedian who's been very
Dave
famous.
Chappelle?
No, our own Arabic Egyptian doctor comedian, the guy who went on Piers Morgan and went on a rant.
Basim?
Yeah.
Is his
Basim.
name Basim.
So
Sorry, Basim.
he was at this one of the talks, I don't remember where, but there was a video, and he said very nice thing. He's like, you can be white as white, like you can be the most white person in the world. I'm quoting him, it's not me. But if you belong to any of the countries which are considered like brown. Like you go to Pakistan, in northern areas, you'll see people pale white. They're so white. But he's like, no, the idea of white is Europe. The idea of white is America. The idea of white is their own countries. So they will always support you if you're white in the sense of belonging to that area, not in color. Someone was, I think, talking to him about, no, it's not a brown people problem. They're not killing them because they're brown and no one is talking about it. He's like, no, it's not the idea of white in color. It's the idea of white in nationality in the region that you belong to. So he gave the example. I know people in Ukraine, they're facing a lot of problems. I'm not saying Ukraine is wrong in this or the Ukrainian people, but a lot of people have questioned Western media's reaction to what happened in Ukraine, the Russia trying to invade Ukraine, bombing them, and same exact thing happening with Israel. With Israel, they were like, no, they're defending themselves. With Russia, they were like, oh no, Russia is the aggressor. So that is what Basim was discussing, and he said this, that no,
and you
have to see it's white because Ukrainians belong to their region.
What you're saying is so true, because what surprised me so much, like we mentioned it on the show yesterday with like specifically Adam Newman, the Israeli businessman who his entire company WeWork just completely flopped when it tried to list because apparently it wasn't valued at the numbers it was valued at. For me, what was so surprising is how is it that this man, his company completely flopped, everyone saw it in real time, we saw it in movies, and then he comes with a new venture, Flow, and you have Andreessen Horowitz, who's just like, here you go, $350 million. It's almost like you are right that the West, Europe, they trust in whiteness. They do.
But not by color, by region, by who they think are white enough or the white
or trustworthy
people they will support. So moving on to another Saudi story. Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund is reportedly preparing to take a major stake in Elon Musk's artificial intelligence company XAI. According to the Financial Times, PIF could participate in an upcoming fundraising round that may value XAI at a staggering $200 billion.
So this isn't PIF's first exposure to XAI, actually. The fund already has indirect ties through Kingdom Holding, Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, which invested $800 million into Elon Musk's ventures. But this next move would represent a direct strategic investment in one of the most closely watched players in the AI space.
And the investment would align squarely with Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030 strategy, focusing on advanced technology, diversification, and long-term economic resilience. XAI is best known for Grok, its generative chatbot, which has drawn significant buzz in the recent days. He was calling himself Mecca Hitler. He was calling out Jews. He was on a rampage. But then after like 2 days, on last Thursday, they launched Grok 4 and a lot of problems went away. And it is like one of the biggest competitor to OpenAI right now.
So with a potential $200 billion valuation, XAI would join the ranks of the most valuable AI companies globally. For Saudi Arabia, this signals a bold ambition to secure influence in a sector that's rapidly reshaping global power dynamics from tech to geopolitics.
And the fundraising round could begin as early as next month, that's August, with PIF taking a direct role. It confirmed this would mark PIF's most high-profile AI bet to date, further embedding Saudi Arabia in the global race for tech dominance. Again, Saudi Arabia trusting Musk. It's not a story, to be honest. Don't take this as a story that they're trusting XAI. They're trusting Musk to do something magnificent. His shares are down a little bit nowadays. So
honestly, for me, I think that the signals renewed relationship between PIF and Elon Musk, especially after, a few years ago, he subpoenaed PIF's governor. But more so than that, what's something that I noticed about X, Majid? I remember when I used to use Twitter back in the day before Elon Musk bought it, there were not that many businessmen tweeting. There weren't.
Yeah.
They were not using it as a space to give their opinion pieces. Honestly, they weren't. The second that Elon Musk has bought it, rebranded it to X, this is when we're seeing this like wave of businessmen who are all on X. You have Prince Al-Walid bin Talal, who's constantly tweeting on X. You also have Hussein Sejwani, and both of these businessmen, by the way, have both invested into XAI and confirmed this. And it's just interesting to me because it's almost like because X is now this like throne that this businessman is sitting on. It's like all of these businessmen, they want to use that app now.
Yeah.
They all, by the way, some of them have X but don't have Instagram whatsoever. They don't even use it. So I think that you are right in the sense of that they are investing into Elon Musk here.
Yeah, and it's not just him, XAI. They've invested in Tesla. Tesla just opened in Saudi Arabia. We had this event where Trump came, and there was a US Gulf, I think, US Gulf business trade event, sort of talks, and Elon Musk was there. He said that he's bringing Starlink to the Saudi Arabia for maritime use and I think industrial something other use, but not for like people to use it. He's bringing his robots to Saudi Arabia. He's bringing literally everything. So right now, whatever Musk can offer is being offered, is somehow making its way into Saudi Arabia. So that's a good sign that our people, the region, will have investment from Tesla because obviously this open stores, they get jobs, they give out jobs. It's good for our growth. So yeah, it's just Saudi investing in Musk. That's
But
just what I want to say, not XAI. Good bet to make, I think.
find it really interesting how you have Saudi Arabia with one of the largest sovereign wealth funds, but they're not actually working that closely with Instagram. They're not working that closely with Zuckerberg, with Meta, but they're choosing Elon Musk. And I think, this brings me to the question of, do you maybe think that it's because of the fact that Elon Musk has not been trialed on this area of like releasing information, giving information as much as Zuckerberg has been?
It's a privacy concern, I think. Yeah, everyone talks about it, that X is the most open platform. They don't share data. Same was said about Telegram also, but then Telegram came back. Pavel Durov came back and he was like, now I will share data only when we find criminal activities, and then we'll give the data of that user to the French authorities, only in France right now. But yeah, it is a big issue. Privacy is a very big tech issue. If someone solves it, he'll become the next Elon Musk. But yeah, that's one thing that I think right now X has an advantage, and you can say anything. So it can be bad, it can be good, but apart from that, you know that your data will never be shared. So it gives you an advantage, but it gives people the disadvantage to see a tweet by a brand sponsored, oh, this, and as soon as you see that sponsored tweet, there is a tweet under it which is racist or classist or elite or anything. You can expect that. That is why a lot of brands have pulled away. That is why the CEO didn't say she moved because of that reason, but Linda Yaccarino, she recently resigned after 2 years at the helm. So I think one of the reasons was because
2 years is not a long time, by the way.
Yeah, for such big companies, 2 years is not. But I think X being merged into XAI, so XAI bought X, so now XAI owns X. I don't know, very weird, but yeah, it happens in big firms. So that is why I think his focus shows that Elon Musk's focus is XAI. On the other hand, Saudi Arabia, obviously their focus is XAI. They created Humane. They've invested so much into so much AI stuff. I think this makes sense, total sense. But again, they're not investing in XAI, as Prince Al-Walid bin Talal also said. I'd invest in Musk, not his companies. So Saudi Arabia, I think, is following suit. Next up, Worth had a very nice interview with a very nice person. I always love the way he smiles. He has a smile on his face, and he puts smiles on the faces of people.
Honestly, he's a really nice guy.
And he puts smiles on people's faces, especially my son, because he loves House of Pops. So it's expensive, to be honest. But again, he loves it, so we buy it. But Dubai-based frozen dessert brand House of Pops is preparing to expand into Europe. Co-founder Mazen Kanan told Smashy Business the company is already shipping to Turkey and testing in Hungary with global ambitions in health-focused ice cream.
So founded in 2018, the idea began with what Kanan calls a summer craving for something clean, simple, and joyful. Originally from Lebanon, he spent over a decade at Unilever managing Walls and Lipton across the MENA region in Turkey, calling it his business school.
And the brand's tropical flavors were developed by his wife and co-founder Marcela Sancho, who is from Costa Rica and has a background in hospitality. Very nice combination. Together, they've scaled the company across the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Lebanon.
And so House of Pops is now available in 600 retail locations and operates 28 kiosks, also appearing at hundreds of events each year. Now, Kannan says the hardest part was convincing people this isn't just ice cream. I'm thinking of this as convincing people this isn't just expensive ice cream, but rather a lifestyle rooted in health and sustainability.
With demand for plant-based products rising, House of Pops is positioning itself for freezers worldwide. To read the full interview with Mazen Kannan, you can subscribe to our Smashy Business newsletter. We'll put a link to our newsletter in this show's episode. If you're listening, watching, wherever you're consuming our podcast and the show, you can find the link in the description.
But you know, Majid, with Mazen Kannan, I think that his story, it is so inspiring because of the fact that he went on the show with Lulu Kazan, the Lebanese show host. It's a great show. And he told her that basically he was told that he was not fit to run the ice cream business. So basically, essentially what happened is he was tagged on this email by mistake, I believe, when he was in Unilever, and it basically said that he's not fit to run the ice cream business. And oh, did that motivate him? Oh, really, it did. He went on to get on Shark Tank. I believe he raised about 10 million dirhams during Shark Tank Dubai, and now House of Pops is everywhere. And that point specifically, Majid, stood out to me. It's the fact that in the interview that I did with him, he said that we make it a point that every year we have so many kiosks, we're in so many stores, we frequent so many events, and it's this idea of being everywhere. For me, like, by the way, like, I knew House of Pops not even because I started writing for Smashy. It's because I see it everywhere. Anywhere that I am, there's like a mini kiosk that I see there, and this idea of being.
We went to Step, it was there.
Remember?
Wherever we go, there is a House of Pops.
It's always
kiosk, right?
there. It's somehow always there, and I think that when I think of House of Pops, another brand that I always see everywhere too is Fade Fit. By Chris Fade, the Virgin Radio host, and it's also Fade Fit is also everywhere. When I'm buying anything, I always see the tiny ball snacks. They're sitting on the counters, and I think that when you shove something in someone's face so much, it's almost like, come on, like you have to use it now. But I wonder, do you think this is almost expensive? If you're always
for 21, it is because the funny story about it is that I went to the supermarket, Spinneys, and the very first time I actually opted to buy a popsicle for my son because he has a throat problem. Whenever he eats or drinks something cold, he gets an itchy throat. I was like, okay, let's buy it. Let him try it. And I chose House of Pops. Now imagine, I chose it because I saw no sugar, organic, blah, 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 blah.
But there were so many options, but the fact it's always in your face.
I had cheaper options, 4 dirhams, 6 dirhams, I had London Dairy, I had all the options in the world, but I chose House of Pops and I was like, it's healthy. But the problem is my son has now recognized the packaging. So if I buy the whole freezer for him, he'll be like, no, I want this. So that's what I think the idea is, that you need to place it everywhere. So you just have this memory that very first time you think of an ice cream and you turn towards a refrigerator with hundreds of options, you see a familiar thing and you're like, this.
Yeah, their branding is on point. But you know, Magic, about House of Pops too, it's the fact that the business is run by husband and wife. So basically, Mazen Kannan is a co-founder, but so is his wife, Marcella. And it kind of brings me to this point of, they've obviously done a great job with it, but would you run a business with your wife? Because I am so against working with family. I really am.
I know there's going to be a lot of clashes in the start, and that's a good sign, to be honest. In the start, whenever you start a business, I've realized all the people that I know who do business or have done business, even my friends back in Pakistan, you always need an opposing force. Otherwise, you don't push hard enough. So if you have an idea and you're like, this is the perfect idea, this is the best idea, there can't be a better idea, you need someone to say no. Oh no, this is the problem, because you will never overthink your idea, because you'll be like, oh no, I have made the perfect idea. And it's human, it's being human, it's not something that no one goes through. So having an opposition, and the best person to give you that opposition is the person who lives in your house or in our house, not your house, our house, and that person will actually be affected by that decision. Because if a friend comes and you starting a business and he doesn't get affected, he lives in his own home, has his own job or business, doesn't get affected.
But see,
your wife will get affected.
They will get affected,
Yeah.
and this is like my point, Majid. Yes, it's like pushback is good, but I think that you can get pushback from anyone. You do not need to be working with your family unless, I think the only case where it actually does work, where you can work with a friend, wife, sister, brother, is when you guys have boundaries. I think boundaries are so important, where you need to have that kind of respect and that kind of boundary where you know not to push too much, you know not to question something too much because it's not yours. And I think that's my belief. And knowing my family and the kind of people we are, we do not have boundaries to not say certain things. I said this to Casey before, and me and my sister had this conversation where she was like, if I worked for you and you didn't give me a promotion, I'm calling mom. I'm telling, like, no, seriously, Majid, like whenever I fight with my siblings, we make it a family problem. 10 family members know. So it's kind of like, I know because we do not have boundaries, we would not make great co-founders.
I still think depends on how the business started. If one sibling started it and then others joined, obviously that sibling has to have an upper hand.
Yeah.
If all of them pitched in together and they started it, I think then the decision rests with all of them. I think Squat Wolf is a good example.
Yeah.
Both the husband and wife, they started it together. And the funny thing is, I don't want to say this, it's a very weird example in my brain, but it makes so much sense. Both of them, whenever you see they're both together in every podcast, in every picture, in every founder story, you will always see them. There is one brand who you always see the wife. The husband somehow is okay, he's also there.
Fixed chocolate? You're talking about fixed chocolate.
He exists, but it's usually her on the front page.
Yeah, that's also.
But they started it
Bake
together.
My Day. Bake My Day is also like this. The wife, she's always at the center
I don't know
stage.
if it's strategic, like a woman finder. Obviously, I'm all in for using all the marketing
Majid,
tactics.
I don't think it's like a strategic move. I think with fixed chocolate specifically,
just Sarah Hamouda
it was Sarah Hamouda's idea. I think that's what happened
he
there.
was from the start. He's still known as the co-founder, right? He's not called as the CMO.
Later on, did they start calling him the co-founder? Not from the beginning, by the way.
But then he is a co-founder, right?
I think maybe she was like nice enough. She's like, you know what? I love you so much, my love. Let's just give you the new name of co-founder. Yeah, but I do think that she was behind it all.
Depends on where you started from. So how the business started, how the idea came up, who gave the funding. So again, very complicated to run family within the business within the family, but it can be done. We have examples, and we have examples it can't be done. So choose your wise property. And lastly, we're going to talk about Israel's stock market, which has surged nearly 80% since October 7, 2023 in dollar terms. And this was done by an opinion piece, we'll tell you about it. And it has prompted claims that the economy is performing well, despite the country's involvement in unprovoked attacks in other countries and genocide that they're carrying out in Gaza.
So basically, Ruchir Sharma, the chair of Rockefeller International, highlighted the surge in an opinion piece for the Financial Times specifically. But the general sentiment here is that the gains are isolated and misleading.
And while Israeli tech startups raised $9.3 billion in the first half of 2025, ranking third globally, the boom is considered narrow. One major deal which comes to your mind is Alphabet's $32 billion acquisition of Israeli cybersecurity firm Wiz. This is Alphabet, Google's biggest acquisition ever.
All cash.
Yeah, and you have to understand that this company is run by former IDF officials. They're part of the subunit which runs cybersecurity. So, and another point that we're going to bring up is how Israel's 2025 budget hit approximately $203.5 billion, a 21% increase, with $36.9 billion earmarked for defense. Now, critics in Israel say that the budget cuts healthcare, education, and salaries. Specifically, there was the opposition leader Yair Lapid who said that you are stealing the future of Israel's middle class. Yeah, and he also said that this is the first time in the history of Israel that you'll openly steal money from the middle class people. And nearly 83,000 skilled Israelis have emigrated in 2024, the highest in over a decade, according to The Guardian. And everyone knows that it's Israeli PM Netanyahu's policy of just constantly being in war. Nobel laureate Aaron Shikanover, he also warned of a brain drain driven by fear of the country's direction. The funny thing is, he talked to the Times of Israel when he said this. So he is a person from that country talking to a very pro-Israel policy newspaper, and he said this. So imagine how bad things are and what people are thinking on the ground.
Yeah.
And by contrast, the biggest IPOs, however, in the region, in the Middle East region, came from Gulf markets. Talabat, we all remember the biggest tech IPO of 2024. Lulu Retail, they bagged nearly $2 billion. If they would have gone to Saudi market at the same time, they were going for a dual listing on ADX and Tadawul. But imagine if they had gotten on Tadawul as well, it would have been 3 or 4 billion. But they didn't go. Most probably this year they're planning the Saudi IPO. And then NMDC Energy also. So all these underscore that investors have more confidence in UAE, Saudi Arabia. Qatar has a low IPO ratio compared to UAE and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, but basically,
this is the market that's actually growing.
But basically what me and Majid were trying to highlight in this story is that very recently we've been seeing so many reports that have been coming out that, you know, are specifically saying that there is one clear winner in the stock market in the Middle East, and that's Israel. And another claim that specifically stood out is the fact that, you know, it's not that Israel is doing great despite all of the unprovoked attacks that it's carrying out, but Israel is doing great due to these things that it's carrying out. And I think that in itself might, you know, some people might argue that that is misleading. Some might even go on to say that it's a form of propaganda because yes, you know, their stock market is doing great, but you know, there are all of these other hidden implications that are going on at the same time. You know, you have Israeli people who are a part of the opposition. You have Israeli people who are leaving the country, and it's kind of almost reminding me of this trend that happened in the Arab world, especially with places like Iraq, Syria, Sudan, where, you know, this brain drain of the most intelligent people in the country leaving because they cannot stand whoever is ruling the country and going to Europe. That's exactly where they went. So I think in this case, that's what we're specifically pointing out. But, you know, more so than that, Majid, you know what, honestly, like as a young person, what's scaring me about this entire thing, it's the fact that, you know, there's so many great newspapers, most famous newspapers, you know, on this earth who've been around for more than 100 years, who are writing these pieces. And it kind of really does make you question where the journalism industry is going to go and what kind of media companies young people are going to choose in the next decade. Because, you know, if you notice, young people right now, they are the largest population in the world that is protesting against the genocide in Gaza and against what Israel is doing. So it does make you wonder that when these young people do graduate from university, when they do seek journalistic careers, are they going to choose platforms like the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, BBC, where it is barely ever mentioned that what is going on in Israel is a genocide? Will they choose these platforms, or will they choose more digital moving platforms where there is an actual policy in place saying that you may call what is happening a genocide? I think for me, that's something that I really deep, especially as a young person myself, is it's like while these organizations are so reputable, they write great pieces, will young people work for them in the future? Is that going to affect them in the future?
The problem is someone is benefiting from this war. And if I could give you one example, I was online late in the night yesterday. There's a conference, energy conference happening in the US. Trump was there. He was giving a speech, and I was looking at the stock market because he was going to announce $70 billion worth of something, energy deals, and Google was involved. Is that just basic trading at the night? So I was up, and I landed on Palantir Technologies because it was one of the most famous ones in the last year. So I looked at it, I was like, let's see. It's at 148 something, and I was like, okay, maybe it's always been there. I went back nearly 1.5, 2 years, and I was like, oh no, it was at $6, you know. Nearly 2 years ago, it was at $6. Right now, I opened the chart again just to be clear. It went up October 2027. I'll just give you a small example, and this makes you understand what happens. 7 October, right? October 7, they were trading at 16. Today they're at 148.
$1.48.
$148. So they were trading at $16 per share. Now they are at 148. You see the graph.
Imagine, that's
it
a great
started
story.
at October 7.
Wow.
So they started gaining. Why? Because Palantir is one of the companies which has been accused of using their technology or selling their technology to Israel to target people. So imagine, this is just one example. If I could show you this is just one example. If I go deep and I start looking, bro, focus. Can you focus on the screen? Just look at it. Just go Google Palantir Technologies and go to October 2023 and see. They started rising at that point. So I'm not calling them out. It's not me. It's being accused by their employees.
But I mean, their CEO, Alex Karp, we're seeing what he's saying. He's very vocal. He's very vocal about his support for Israel and how this is all just some Hamas
So you have to
debacle.
understand, this war is not for Mr. Netanyahu only. It's for a lot of businesses. It's backed by a lot of military industrial complexes. If you want to read about them, there's like literature over literature, libraries over libraries of the military industrial complex in the US, which makes the president the president. It's a long theory. Again, theory. There's a difference between law, principle, and theory. So there are multiple theories which say that all these wars are funded by those and obviously, go to the US stock exchange, look at all the military company stock prices in the past 2 years since October 7. You'll see why all of this is happening. It's a very clear theory, I think. One of the best supported theories, because every military company is going up because there is a war in Gaza. There is a genocide being carried out in Gaza. So yeah, with that,
that's
we'll
a
end
wrap
the show today.
for today, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the Smashy Business Show. Make sure to follow us across all of our social media channels and stay ahead with our newsletter. You'll find the link in our profile.
Thank you so much. Sorry for it, but this has been a Smashy Business Show, a Smashy Business production, part of the Augustus Media Podcast Network. A big shout out to our 1.8 million monthly listeners, clapping for our producers, for our production team also. Thank you so much. You guys make it possible. Behind the scenes, we're sitting in front. We always get the limelight, but you guys don't. But thank you so much, everyone who's been part of this show. And thank you very much for you who just watches it, listens to it. Thank you very much. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.